Welcome everybody to Disney Hot Topic. We have a lot of new faces. We have a lot of people this week, and we're so stoked. We're going to do introductions first, so we're going to make sure everyone gets their introduction because I sadly forgot that last week. That is my bad. So I'll go first. I'm Jackson. I'm Disneyland Man's Instapics. I just do photography, and then I'll pass it off to Olivia and Dean, and they can do their introductions as well.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm Rope Drop Ready on all socials.
I'm Dean, Dean's Parks and Vibes on Instagram.
I'm Joe. Joe over the years on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well, most likely.
Hi, I'm Laszlo.
And I'm Hannah.
And we are Disney Foolish Mortals on all socials.
Jay, hi. And I am Jay Ventures UK on Instagram, only at the moment.
Hi, I'm Kevin Curtis Allen. I'm Brit's Guide to Disney Vacation Club, and I'm also co-host the Disload podcast.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I'm Jiffin_MC131, and also at Straight Until Disney Pod.
All right. Well, it's good to know everybody. We're glad to have some new faces. Glad to see some returning. It's been nice. This week, we're going to tackle an interesting topic. We're going to tackle the topic of Disney parks pricing. And we're going to cover the whole range. So we're going to talk about park tickets, lightning lane, food, merch, all that good stuff. And then we're going to talk about just how generally we feel about the value of a ticket goes these days and how, do we actually feel like we're getting ripped off or is it pretty good? And so, we're going to talk about that. But, to start, I kind of wanted to talk about the idea that, I did this in Excel because I'm nerdy, but I have a graph where the Disney parks prices, the tickets are going up, right? Especially for Disneyland, particularly. That's every park goes up, but Disneyland and Disney World are kind of the focus for that because they've been having the most increases recently. At least I feel. And so when you look at Disneyland, it kind of goes up and then it plateaus because we get variable pricing and you start having okay, it's a range between 105 and 150 or 170, 224 or whatever. And so I kind of did some research into how that factors in with the idea of inflation, because that's been a big problem here in the States is that the dollar has been losing money. And so we feel like we're spending more, but really we're spending just a little more than we usually would for things. So, something I researched is in 2000, a one-day ticket, and I assume this is not a park hopper, was about $41, and now that's about $62 to $76 today, right, in today's money. And then if you do the same thing in 2014, it's about $96 to $99 in 2014 money, and then now it's $104 to $125, which doesn't sound too far off of what we're doing. And then in 2025, it's $104 to $224, depending for what you do and who you're buying for and what kind of extras you're getting, which kind of gets complicated. But I found that pretty interesting, that the pricing is still going up despite inflation. It's still a really big jump, even if it was just inflation prices. So, and then I know that Olivia has done some research on DLP and their prices. Did you want to pipe in on that?
So I've noticed, obviously it does vary with price, but I've noticed an increase myself from going from different years. But I did notice that the prices go up within seasons, and obviously we've got World of Frozen coming up, so I've noticed the prices are going up with that, and that means as well that annual passes are having another increase. I know the Foolish Mortals have more information about that, so they will delve into all annual passes. But yeah, we can see an increase throughout the years, and again, we're having inflation in the UK as well, so that's probably not helping.
Yeah, exactly. That is correct. And you can see something very similar with the annual passes as well. But what we noticed is that they do something which is marketing wise and company wise really smart. It's not necessarily good for us, but in the big picture, it seems like a smart thing because around every 3 years, they completely rejig their annual pass system. Because I think for what's important for the parks themselves and for the mouse is the pass holders, because those are the people who can easily be lured into the parks because, I've got an annual pass, I'm going to be going there. Anyway, it's not going to cost me any money. So what I think they are doing in Disneyland Paris, going by the trends, is that every few years when they rejig the system, they introduce a new tier to their annual pass system, which is a very, very basic kind of pass. And that's what they've done now. So whilst up until last year, there was only 3 tiers, bronze pass, silver pass, and gold pass. And with the bronze pass, that was only €289 a year, and it was good for 170 days in the park. So the rest of the days there were quite a lot of lockout days, and all you've got extra with it was free car parking. And if you go into silver, that was €499. That lets you in for 300 days, and as an extra, you get 10% discount on the merch, and you get 10% discount on the photo pass. And then if you go to the top tier, the gold tier, that was $699, and that was good for every single year, no lockout days, 15% off in the prices, and then you get the photo pass for a year for free. And what they've done now is they introduced the new tier, a bronze and a bronze max. So they divided the low tier into 2, and the normal bronze that actually stayed at the same price, and it gives you the same perks as before, but the bronze max that costs slightly more, it's €399, but it gives you 210 days. So there's 40 less lockout days in there. And along those lines, on the sly, I like to say, they increased the prices of the silver pass and the gold pass as well. And it's a quite significant increase on those prices as well, because the silver pass went up by €70 and the gold pass went up by €100. So that's quite a lot of an increase. But I see what they're doing. What they try to do, I think, is to get more people on the annual pass. Because say it's only $289 a year. That's worth it because it's only a few days worth of park tickets. But these are the people who are going to be more tempted to return and start buying the merchandise and start eating in the parks. So they're going to start thinking like, oh, maybe next year we should get the other pass, the silver pass or the gold pass, because we are going to save on the merchandise and we are going to save on the food as well. So I think what they are doing is a quite smart thing to do. And if you look at historically, they do this every around 3 years, because the last change was in 2023, and I think the previous change in the system was in 2020. So every 3 years they do this kind of system, which for some people it does work out, but those people who have been on the passes, on the silver or the gold passes, they're going to be the ones paying more, really, because they are going to be the ones, I think, paying the price of trying to get more pass holders in. So this is kind of like what we noticed at Disneyland Paris.
But
there's a discount as well if you're renewing, which I find, like, I know a lot of people at the moment is they're gonna renew the pass just because there's a discount on it as well, knowing that the prices are going up, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna do it. That's another thing that people are they're like trapped in it now, because they're like, oh, I can get a discount on next year. So
but
that works as well.
Stateside wise, to me it feels like they don't really want annual pass holders, because Disneyland, the amount of times that you can't, there's periods when they don't even offer the annual passes, and then there's a big rush to get them because they know that they can get more money from day visitors, like once in a lifetime holiday, that are putting everything on their credit card, whereas annual pass holders will pop in and out, have something to eat, have something to drink maybe, and then go home, and they're not buying everything. I mean, if you look at Tokyo Disney, you can't even get annual passes. They've stopped that for years now. You couldn't even get park hoppers until I think it came back last year from like 4 o'clock onwards. You could pay, but it works out more for a park hopper ticket than it does to buy 2 separate park days. But yeah, so from stateside at least, I think that they would be happy to lose annual passes. I think they're limited to what they can do, because obviously there would be uproar.
But they do still do a discount if you renew your annual pass. The Florida Residence annual pass is quite a good deal, which is the one if you're a full DVC member you can have as well. And there's quite a discount on that, if rather than not having it and then renewing it a month later, or rejoining a month later. That's quite a discount still. So I can see what you're saying, but they want them until they don't want them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was it worth? Yeah, but I see what you're saying as well, because years and years ago it was really easy to upgrade the 2 week park tickets to annual passes in Walt Disney World, and now you can't do it. Or apparently you can do it. It depends on what cast member you're getting to talk to, but in general, the general rule is that you can't.
Yeah, I've tried doing that. I booked last 2 weeks of September one year and the first 2 weeks of September, or overlapping, and expecting to upgrade my 14-day pass, and they wouldn't do it, even though I hadn't used my annual. I hadn't even started the ticket. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't even let me in the door down at Disney Springs. So there you go. That's that.
It's strange because if you look at Hong Kong, for example, they want everyone to be annual pass members. Because when we went through the parks, there were signs literally everywhere: upgrade your park tickets to annual pass, upgrade your park tickets to annual pass, and the
And
pricing
Shanghai.
system.
They can only
Yeah.
get that online.
Do you think it's the footfall? Because obviously, like Walt Disney World and Disneyland have a lot of footfall, and Disneyland Paris is still, not as popular, and Hong Kong as well.
That's what
is
I
not
was
as
about to say.
popular. So
Like,
do you think it's that
maybe they're trying to get
your-
people to lock in more so that they can have like a guaranteed, like, okay,
Yeah.
like we know this many people should come. We're at least getting this income. Like, that's a really easy way to get more money from people up front too. Like, you might lose money if they come a lot, but at least, like, okay, we locked them in on this pass. We got this much money now. We can invest that in the park. So that's an interesting thing
Yeah.
to notice.
And the Disneyland Paris have annual pass parties as well. I don't know if it's the same for other parks. But again, that is an upcharge. I think that should be included if you've got an annual
you're right
pass.
there. It should
but-
be an included thing, because I thought about getting the bronze tier of annual pass for Disneyland Paris for ages, just to attend the annual pass parties. But it's an extra charge, and if you buy a bronze pass, you can only go 100 and however many days that Foolish Mortals just said.
And it's still like, isn't it €60 or something
it's,
for these
it's
parties?
a lot, and
Quite
the
a lot.
bronze tier, there's so much blocked out. There's a lot of the summer that you don't get to go. You miss all the good weather. There's a lot of the bit more drab days. I want to say.
Yeah, you miss a lot of the seasonal stuff as well,
which
like
is
Halloween and Christmas stuff.
Which is a shame, really. Hopefully the Bronze Plus sorts that out. But yeah, you're right with pass parties. That should be included in the pass, I think.
I just
And in
assumed it
fairness,
was.
the past few parties were like quite poor as well. Because I remember, like we were just trying to find content on the last annual pass party, and we could barely find any content on YouTube. And those people who recorded it, it was just not great.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed with the past parties that you have to prioritise like one or two things because the crowds, like the queues are massive. I did more than people who were there by going on live stream. Like I did absolutely everything at an annual pass party on live stream for people that were actually there because there's so many people going.
I've
just not,
I've spoken to a couple of friends that have gone to not the most recent pass party, but one beforehand, and they said it was a bit of a mess on how it all went down. So yeah, I don't think you're even getting your value for money because you maybe see one character that you wouldn't normally see in the parks, and that might be it.
And they swap out the characters, don't they? They go like, oh, this is a rare one, and then someone who's common, so they have like the Sultan and Jafar, and then they'd swap it out last minute. So you'd be in the queue for like 2 hours, and then meet Jafar, who's there all the time. So people there's like an uproar every single annual pass party.
They're getting a bad rep now, and the crowd levels are dropping as well. Because on the Christmas one, when you looked at the crowd levels, there were no crowds really.
Yeah, I think with what you were saying about footfall as well, I think Disneyland Paris is becoming more aimed at France, like getting more locals in. Whereas I remember when I used to go, and like you were saying, there were flyers everywhere. You used to have the office near Discovery Land that you could go in, that massive office you could go in, talk, and then they've got kind of the very small one. The advertising, you don't see so much. The parties, I think the upcharge, in my opinion, the reason they do that is to try and discourage people from overseas, possibly try and get more locals in so that, the bronze locals can come in with their 100 days pay their thing, come for the night. Whereas, for UK, US, for other countries to come in, we have to fly in, drive in, hotels, etc., etc., etc. Whereas they can say, well, if you live local, just pay €60, come in and have a nice time. And in my opinion, that's just kind of what I'm kind of seeing it as.
Yeah, they've changed the office in Discoveryland for just the annual pass meets, but they're only like a few times a year.
We haven't touched on Walt Disney World park tickets either at the minute. They've obviously been going up and up and up year on year on year. You go back to like sort of 2010, 2011, 2012, where you can get a single day park ticket for one park for like $85. You're sort of your high end. Now you're sort of looking at a one park, depending on the time of year. Obviously, you're going for like $100, $140. And park hopper as well, which is a massive thing. A 2-day park hopper ticket is like 2 seconds. I've made notes. Give me a minute. Whoa. A 2-day park hopper ticket. You're looking at like $440.
Wow, that's so much money.
That's for 2 days to be able to go to 4 parks. That's mental for Walt Disney World.
It's too much. When I was booking a trip to Disneyland, I counted the same thing when I was like, okay, just 2 days in the park, I'll do 2 park hoppers, and it was $90 to make it a hopper. And I was like, Disney California Adventure, like, there's like it's a half day, bro. Like, don't charge me $90 for that. So I just did 1 park a day, and we just did Downtown Disney the other half of the first day. I was like, sorry, like, this is what I have to do. And that works in Disneyland, but Disney World, you kind of need hoppers are just useful there. Like, all their parks are a full day. Like, you could make it, but I think it's just so much nicer to be like, hey, I'm sick of Hollywood Studios, time for Animal Kingdom, and that's such a nice thing. But the price is just
It's like reading that, like for a 2-day park hopper, that blew my mind. $440. Like, it puts into perspective for our 14-day pass over here. We pay like 450 quid, 500 quid. And we get park hopper every day. And I don't think we realise how good of a deal we get over here. Because I don't know if the Americans get that. I don't know if you get that, Jackson. But, yeah, it's...
I don't know if you remember a year or two ago when the dollar went down to £1, $1.12, $1.15. Do you remember that a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
When we had that real dip? I was buying 14-day tickets for Americans. Anyone going more than about 3 or 4 days, it was cheaper to buy a 14-day ticket through me in the UK, and I can put it onto your Disney experience. It was cheaper for me to buy it in the UK because the dollar was our pound was so weak against the dollar. It was cheaper. Like you say, they're getting a 14-day ticket. This is a couple of years ago. It was well under £450 at the time. They were getting 14 days. They were getting water parks. They were getting photo pass. They were getting, basically all what we get, giving them, and it was cheaper than what you were buying a 5-day pass with Park Hopper. It was far cheaper for them to do that. But obviously now the dollar's rallied a little bit and we get 132. It's changed again. But when it was at about 115, it was cheaper for them. And of course the price, we've got dynamic pricing on our tickets, 14-day park tickets now, haven't we? I paid
it sucks.
$5.60 for mine. Olivia, can you remember what you paid? Because you're a lot cheap. I know your price band was, I think, was under 500 if I remember rightly.
I don't know exact price. I can't remember, but I know because what I did, I priced up so many times in the year, and obviously January ended up being the cheapest, so I just went
even
for
then. Like US price, it was cheaper for me to have gone a week earlier. But obviously, I've got flights booked, and I've got people out to meet out there, so I can't get to Disney until the 9th of February. And if I'd have started it on the 4th, I think it was about £50 cheaper. And I think in January it's even cheaper than that. But that's dynamic pricing for you.
Yeah, it's still a hell of a lot of money though.
Like, I refer you back to my statement last month.
Still just
I can't afford to do Universal and Disney on the same trip. Just can't do it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, me
You got
either.
to.
And that's why I'm just doing
You
two
got to when
days.
you're going out that way. You got to. But sorry.
Can't afford it.
Oh
I
no,
absolutely
Universal's cheaper than Disney. Picked up like a 14-day Universal pass for like 400 and something.
Yeah, but
Well, no, you're only doing 2
both.
Disney days. This is too expensive. But no, touching on something Jackson's probably going to come to, you've got to be so smart when you plan these trips. Like what I've kind of been messaging Joe about. If you're going over there, you want to pick your days. If you do Magic Kingdom, you don't want to do it on a day when there's Mickey's not so scary, because the park's going to be shut at 7, and you're
I
paying.
don't know.
I disagree
I
with
don't
that.
know.
So quiet.
Because it's such a quiet time.
Less
You
quiet.
if you start
Yeah.
in the
Look what you've
morning
done.
and end at 6 o'clock, you've done the day. It's so quiet. I loved it
Yeah,
last
but you
year.
don't get
Not last
to
year,
see
before.
like the evening stuff, do you?
Wow, you don't get to see the evening stuff, but that's what you go to
Oh,
Epcot for.
hang
You
on,
get on the
hang on.
monorail.
This is the person that doesn't like the night parades or
No,
entertainment.
bugger off.
Here we go. Here we go.
Too.
No, but but it's a quiet day in Magic Kingdom, and if you
Get in there early.
if you're
until-
there, yeah,
Yeah.
until 6 o'clock, until they kick you out, and then jump on
I'm
the
out.
monorail and go to Epcot. I think they're the best days to go because it's so quiet.
We went in
I'm with you,
September
Joe.
23 on the park day, on a Mickey's Not So Scary Day, and at like 1 in the afternoon, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, 20-minute wait. So it was like, and we
There you go.
obviously for us we're there for 2 weeks, so we can go there another time at night. We can see it in the night, but during that day we're like, let's just go there. It's quiet. Walk through Frontierland with no people, no crowds, and it was just, yeah, it's heaven.
But that's a
Love it.
British thing, isn't it? That's because we've got
It
this
is.
Hell yeah.
14-day ticket. Jack here, who's next to
Yeah.
me on my screen, that wouldn't work for him.
Yeah, make the most out of it.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting topic to talk about because what we're really coming down to is the value of the pass, right? And there's obviously like, okay, you have to go this many times to make the pass worth it. But I'm kind of shocked that they still make you pay for the parties. Like almost full price. And I'm like, why? Like I remember when I was a kid and I had an AP, I was like royalty. Like I still had to pay for some extra things. Like it's not amazing, but they were like, oh yeah, come here and get this discount. And come on to the front of this or whatever. Like it was amazing back in the day. But I think something that we need to ask is, now that, like, obviously I'm thinking very old here, but when I was going as a kid, we had FastPass and that was included. You walked in, you got a FastPass, you'd make your rounds, right? You'd hit all the stuff and you'd get all the paper and then you'd be like, oh, I gotta go on like 10 rides. It was great. But I wanted to pose the question to the group. Yeah, right? Kevin's got some right there. I have one in like every one of my book.
Yeah, I have one.
I wanted to
The
throw a
Big
question out
Thunder
to everyone, and maybe I could get Jonathan's take on this too, because it'd be kind of unique since he hasn't been for a little bit, about what we think about FastPass versus Lightning Lane. Like, do we think it's better? Do we think it's worth it? What are we thinking? I wanna really hear from people on this one.
Who wants to
Should we
start?
do-
I mean, all of us have got to
Who's
have
going
like a strong opinion on it. Personally, I hate the new system. It's rubbish. I hate that you have to pay. Go back and give us our 3 free fast passes for the day in Walt Disney World parks. I'm happy with that. Book them however many, like, what was it, 60 days out before you arrive, and that's your things. I love that. But now you got, like, if there's a must-do rides, like the bigger rides, you got Tiana's and Tron and Guardians, Seven Dwarves, they cost like $15 to $20 just to skip the queue on, and that sucks.
Yeah. And when I saw with Crush's Coaster before, it was €23
It's not even that
just to do Crush.
That's the one we always pay for.
And that last ride
Yeah.
was really bad as well. Because we paid for it, we got on the ride and stopped like 3 times.
I
Oh,
will
you're
drop
joking.
it.
I have an interesting opinion I might have, and I don't mean to offend anybody if you've done this, but I see reels a lot where they say like, oh, I'm poor, but I'm not 40 minutes or 60 minutes poor or whatever. And then it's a video of them walking past the queue. I think that was funny for the first couple, and now I just think it's kind of mean because Disneyland is all about, or the Disney parks are all about, like, kind of leveling the playing field. Like, anyone can go and have a good time, and that kind of creates a class system, and I don't appreciate that. Like, I get that some people have money, and if I had money, I'd probably skip the lines too, but, like, I don't like that it kind of creates a big gap between the two kinds of park goers, because now I feel like I'm looked down upon, even though I'm waiting in line for Tron at Disney World, and that's awesome still. You know, like, it takes the fun out of it a little bit. I don't know. That might be an unpopular thing to say, but
I've only done it once, and that was with Tower of Terror. But it was the day I was doing the Tower of Terror bound. So I was like, I wanted to ride it at least a few times, and it was the last day of our trip, so I was like, right, I'm going to have to do it because I've got no time. But it worked out really well because that was when they gave me the readmission pass. Because the cast member liked my outfit. So I basically got 2 rides for the price of one. And I think it was €12, maybe 18. I can't remember now, but it was still quite expensive. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I really wanted to go on just one last time before we went home. And because I knew we wouldn't have time to wait, that was my only reason. But I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
I think unpopularly, I think it's more aimed at American people. I'm not having to go at you, Jackson, but it's more aimed at American customers. I don't want to.
Well, and that's the thing. They buy it. I cannot handle it. I agree with you 100%.
Exactly what I mean.
It's all come over here, isn't it, from the States? I mean, we had FastPass for a couple more years, and then COVID came, and no, we're going to get every little penny out, and they brought it over to Paris.
Yeah, Foolish Mortals, I saw you had your hand up. Did you have something to add to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say 2 things, really. Is that the one thing that really annoys me with the fast passes is that so many times, so many rides, you miss the queue line with it. You miss the exciting part of it. Yeah. Because it drops you straight after.
Yes, the pre-shows.
And I think it's the same with Tower of Terror as well, isn't it? Dream, and you miss, like, the whole reception area.
You still go through it, you just don't get to stand around and look at
it. No, we still go through it. Yeah, but yeah, you are pretty much just skipping through. You're not, like, because you just want to get on the ride. People, I think, when you're in the queues, I love being in the queues because I've noticed details I don't notice before. So when I'm in the queues, I'm looking around constantly, and that's why I love Disney so much, because other theme parks, you're in a cattle pen.
I've realized this. Sorry.
But with Disney theming,
sorry, Lydia, I stopped right away.
No,
I was just going to say, because I'm a photographer, and I have a really weird view of the park, because me and my wife, I actually got her to start taking pictures with me. So she's like, can we wait in the line? It's 45 minutes. And I'm like, yeah. And then we're like over there switching lenses with each other. And we're like, oh, I'm getting this shot. Did you get that one? And it's really fun. And we have a good time. Waiting 45 minutes in Florida heat is killer. I'm not going to lie. Like, especially Tower of Terror, that's a hot line. Rise is a little better. That's in the shade, right? That's a finer queue to wait in. I get that lines can be exhausting and hard, but I'm with Olivia on this one. I think the queue, it's designed to tell the story and immerse you. And I think that when you rush through it, yes, you get on the ride faster, and that can be awesome sometimes, especially like when you're closing the park. That's fun to just like run on really quick. But I think for me, I would rather stand in the line at least a little bit. Like, I'm not saying I love waiting for hours, but 20 minutes, half an hour, I'm happy because I get to see it, I get to take it in, and then I get the ride. So I'd prefer that anyway, but.
Yeah, you just need to have strategies for some of these rides and stuff. That's what you need to do and have the in on them. Like I say, go to rides just before the park close or rope drop the rides. That's 2 options straight away. Go when there's go ride something in Magic Kingdom when you got the parade on. You know, there are ways around it.
Right? Right? Yes!
All the fireworks.
Yes!
But make sure you watch the
parade.
No,
man, I rode Carousel of Progress during the fireworks once. I was like, screw you, I'm going on Carousel of Progress. We were the only ones in the whole theater. It was amazing. The cast member was like, you sure there's fireworks? I was like, we're here for this. I'm here for this.
Did you stay awake all the way through it? That's what I want to know.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love Carousel of Progress. I was eating that crap up. I was like, this is so good. And they even made us go through one scene twice.
That's so good to know because
Oh
people
yeah.
are on the phones
I love
during
Carousel.
like,
My
oh,
shutter
this is
was
just
like,
a
I was
great-
filling up
Oh,
memory
no,
cards. I was like,
love
I
it.
gotta get all the pictures. I'm switching lenses here. I gotta get a 200. It was so fun. I love that ride. It's one of my favorites. But I'm kind of weird for that.
Oh, that's so good to know. No, because it's just underrated.
I do audio when I'm in the parks of the rides, so I put those out as extra episodes. And the audio of Carousel of Progress got a lot of downloads, more than some of my actual interviews.
I think there was an overwhelming opinion on fast passes, which was interesting. I don't think any of us like the new system, me included. I hate it. I miss paper. Let's go back. But now I just want to touch on something that isn't talked about a lot with price increases, which is hotel, merch, and food and beverages. Just kind of like all the auxiliaries that come with buying tickets, and all these different things. And I know that Foolish Mortals over here are great for our merch stuff. And then I know that we also maybe wanted to talk about, I know Dean had some things to say about hotels as well in Hong Kong, perhaps. So we can just launch into that. And I know everyone else has got more experience with the hotels than I probably do. So we can just kind of jump from there.
Dean, do you want to kick off with the hotels?
Oh, well, it's just to kind of give a bit of an idea of like the prices for the hotels over there. So this was only by like last year, but prices are so much cheaper. For like, fair enough. I mean, the most expensive hotel we stayed in was the Disneyland Hotel, and we had a castle view room, so the balcony overlooked the castle, and that was it was for one night. It was £731.71, but there was 4 of us staying in it, and it could sleep up to 6. So it's working out £182.92 each. And like if you compare that against like the top parks in California or Orlando, you're not going to get those kind of prices. And like the cheapest hotel was a Toy Story hotel, and for one night on their standard room, it was £123 a night per person. Well, yeah, that was per person. So again, it's not too bad when you consider the Disneyland Paris.
Pretty good for a Disney hotel. You don't get that anymore.
I wanted to, so I have two things. One, I know Kevin wanted to talk about DVC after this. I did not forget. We will touch on DVC. But I was looking at hotels at Disney World, and I think it was like $250 dollars a night for Port Orleans Riverside, which I loved. So that's a great resort. Fantastic. I did not feel like my money was wasted. Very good. I would like to bring up to the group, though, I don't know if anyone's seen the renovations that have happened in the Contemporary recently. They've got those new Incredibles rooms. I guess that was a few years ago, but recently to me. I just don't feel like those rooms are worth what they're charging. They seem pretty basic to me, and I hate it because I like the idea of the Contemporary, but does anyone else have that kind of thing where there's a resort that they just feel like isn't worth the value? Who was that? Foolish Mortals, you had one?
Yeah, the thing is, we've been discussing it with Hannah as well when we saw like the new rooms. That is it only us, but whenever they do renovations in Walt Disney World in any of the resorts, the rooms they are doing it uniform. So in every single resort, the rooms are the same. And for that reason, anytime we go, we know ourselves that we literally, we like to say we rope drop till we drop. So we barely spend any time at the resort. So we always go for all-star resorts because it just doesn't worth for us spending the extra money on a nice hotel. And now we've been looking at the renovations, especially in the Contemporary, as you mentioned. The room's exactly the same. It's the carbon copy as the room in the all-star resorts. And that's, to be honest, that room is better than any of the high-end hotel rooms in London, if you want to go to a hotel in London. So it doesn't seem like it's worth the price. It's worth the price maybe for the location, but again, if you're doing Contemporary,
you're there for Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
walking
you're there.
Distance.
But everything else, you have to go on the monorail, which is great and easy, but try to get on the monorail after park closing.
No. I think I'll avoid that. Jay, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was kind of on a similar vein with Pop Century though. But I am a stan for Pop Century. I love it. It's my favorite Disney resort. I've done DVC tours, and I would take that over any resort for me personally. And like you said, and I like your phrase, we rope top till we drop. I'm going to use that from now on. That's awesome. But we wake up, we go out. Skyliner is just amazing and so convenient. And the rooms there, like Pop Century has literally just had their whole lobby refurbed, food court completely refurbed. They've got the new coffee bar, ice cream bar. The rooms have just had another refurb, even though they were refurbed like 5, 6 years ago. So it's like all completely fresh. And I think the value you get from a value compared to looking at contemporary, and don't get me wrong, like amazing hotel, and I'm sure for those that love it, it's fantastic. But for me, for what I use the room for, I think Pop Century is just the best value, and it's had the most love I feel of any resort recently because it's just completely fresh, completely clean.
Yeah, I mean,
Pop Century.
Go on,
go
Jackson.
with it, Joe. You go.
Okay,
No, you go,
I was just gonna say I've been fortunate enough to stay in deluxe resorts, DVC resorts, and the lower end, and really staying in somewhere like All Stars. I stayed there in 2024, and it's fantastic. Ever since they've done the updates, the refresh on the rooms, brilliant. For the money, you cannot fault it. Don't get me wrong, there's kids about, but you're gonna get that everywhere, you know. Is brilliant. If you're looking to save a little bit of money, definitely consider the All-Star resorts. You know, you don't have to go all out. Caribbean Beach is a good alternative as well if you want maybe somewhere which is not so Disney themed, but it's still a great price. And especially with, depending on what time of year you go as well, you can get some really good deals on the hotels. It's really, I think All Stars is probably your best value for money though.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think too, like, I think there's a lot of overlooked hotels that are talked about, but people just kind of don't think about them because they're not in like the top, like they're not Grand Floridian, they're not contemporary. But like, I think I would like to spend a few nights at Wilderness Lodge, like it's not the Animal Kingdom Lodge, but Wilderness Lodge is a gorgeous place. Yeah. And I think what me and my wife were talking about is like, okay, we go to, we save some money and stay our 4 nights at, All Star or whatever. And then we do one day in our trip where we stay at like Grand Floridian or we stay at Wilderness and we just enjoy it. And that's like our resort day. And that's awesome. And then we just go back to All Star and keep doing our trip because like you said, we're never there. And if you're hot and sweaty and tired, you just want a bed. You're not going to really care what kind of painting's above it at the end of the day. So I think that's a really good point to make. Did you have any things that you wanted to weigh in on with this? Include some DVC for us?
I completely agree with everything you said, especially about Pop Century. The Skyliner is a game changer. And had we have not had COVID, I predicted that we would have had the Skyliner out at a lot more resorts by now, had we not have had the great unpleasantness, as I like to call it. Now, as a DVC member, I'm going to say something very controversial here, and as somebody that runs a DVC podcast, I find it hard to justify the price. Now, we're talking about price increase. It's now going from $235 a point to $243, which is still shy of my prediction of $250 for next year. That was my prediction I made on the Disload, and the guys will hand me over the barrel for making that prediction, and I'm $7 out. But as I said in the last episode, at the moment, nothing's got a 50-year contract out there. So to pay $243 a point, and if you've got to have 150 to 200 points from the UK to make it worthwhile to be able to get a 2-week vacation, DVC Direct is very difficult to justify. When this new resort comes on board, and if it's got the 50-year contract, which it may have, or it may only have a 48-year contract, again, I covered that last week, that makes it a bit different. Personally, 243 points for a direct contract, all you guys there, go and buy yourself a Polynesian for $150 a point on resale. because that's got the same contract as you buying direct. You just don't get the discounts and you don't get the perks. But if you want a cheap room and you want location, 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 you can stay at the Poly for $150 a point. Over the term of that contract, that's going to be a lot cheaper than even some of your value resorts. For instance, mine, I pay $85 a point, and as I said last week, my night's stay this coming vacation of $114 a night. And that's how I've worked it out with each point after each year and with the dues. But very difficult for me to sit here and justify people spending $243 a point on Riviera or the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Now, I am staying at Wilderness Lodge for 3 nights in a studio at the end of my holiday and doing exactly what you said, Jackson. Exactly what you said. That will be just my resort few days. And I was hoping to take the boat over to Magic Kingdom, but of course, I don't know if you know, but the boat's not running in February. They're putting a new dock in, so that didn't work. But that's by the by. Personally, like I say, very expensive. The dues have gone up. By the biggest increase was Bay Lake Tower at 9% on the dues, but some of them are down to 3%. So not massively, not as big as the increases on your hotel rooms. And remember, what have you got left at the end of your hotel room? Nothing. Once you leave, you've got nothing. You don't own a contract. It's goodbye. That's just your memories. But yeah, very difficult to justify it at 240. I don't know if any of you have ever thought about buying DVC. It is quite difficult to justify it at that sort of money.
My mum and stepdad actually bought into DVC not last year, year before, in 2024. And our home resort is Saratoga. Yeah. And they've said, my board and lodge essentially goes towards that as well. So like I pay X amount for the dues every year as well. And it is a lot. Don't get me wrong. But buying DVC points secondhand, there's websites like DVC and things like that. Yeah. I think it's a really good way of looking at doing Disney. I try and recommend it a lot if people want to stay in these, higher end resorts. It's definitely a way to go.
You can rent them as well through people that are advertising their points for them, either with a pre-booked hotel or actually, you request what you want. So if you want your one night Wilderness Lodge, Jackson, you can go on to these sites and you can rent points, which I've done it the other way around. Where during COVID, I rented my points out. So you can do that.
That's actually an interesting thing I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Isn't this something that Disney wants to stop now?
No.
Stop people from doing.
There are commercial renters that own tens of thousands of points, and they were commercially renting, and they're booking up like the value rooms at Animal Kingdom Lodge and all the theme park view rooms, and then selling them on through Facebook groups. No, you can do that. It's even in your contract. It even says in your contract you have the right to rent your points, but it's doing it on a commercial basis. Me doing it 1 year just to cover my dues. For instance, if I rented my points out in 2020, it paid for the dues in the 2 years I couldn't go to Disney. So it was a no-brainer, And I thought there would be an issue renting them, but there was more people wanted them because they couldn't travel internationally, obviously. So yeah, it's quite good from that point of view. My ideal situation would be to have twice as many points as I've got now and then rent half of them every year and pay for the dues and then use the other half for my trip. So if anyone's got 20 grand behind their sofa anywhere, they could just lend me.
I have like $200. Is someone else want to spot me?
I found 9 cents today while we were going through the wardrobe. Getting out.
You're basically there. You did it. So I know that we also wanted to just touch on very quickly just the food and beverages and merch prices. And I'm really interested to hear about merchandise particularly. Food is kind of like something that kind of all of us keep an eye on, whether we know it or not, just because we pay for it, so we know it But I'd like to hear about Foolish Mortals talking about the merchandise increases as well, price increases, I should say, and anyone else.
I'll let Hannah start it because she's got a really good analogy.
So you know in the UK how you track inflation by the price of Freddos?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in Disney terms, I track it by the price of premium Mickey bars. So back when it all started,
This is
it's
a good
about
point.
30
This is a
cents,
good
not
point.
going to be 30 cent anymore. So what was it like 2010? It was like $3.75 for one, and now it's like $6.29. So it's nearly doubled
Shit, I didn't know that.
in like what was it, 16 years?
I think it's tax credit.
In the US, yeah, it was like $4.50 or $4.75 when I was a kid, and then now it's $8 or something, $5 or $6 for
and
one.
I think they're putting up the prices
crazy.
again now.
Mm-hmm. I'll still buy them. I'll do it. That's my weakness, but
Yeah.
I have to
We're
say.
gonna have one at least. What are we gonna do? Not buy them? Like the other thing I found interesting, you know, the big like crystal castle in the gift shop. That's like cost loads of money.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, that's increased in price drastically as well. So it used to cost a deposit for a house. Now it cost a house. So in 2010, it cost $37,500. And today it now costs $285,000, which is a 7.6 times increase.
I was just looking at inflation. Like, obviously, like this is not how inflation works, but like a very simple kind of way to look at it. The inflation in the US was around 2.67% a year between 2010 and 2025. So it's a cumulative of just shy of 50%. So how do you justify a 7.6 times price increase comparing to a 50% inflation? That was just mind blowing when Hannah found that. I was like, that is just absolutely ridiculous.
That's crazy. You could buy a nice little 4-bed for that.
Yeah. Or a Rhinestone Castle.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
Exactly.
What would you rather spend your money on?
And
You live in like a dump,
everything
but
else.
you've got the Rhinestone Castle, but you live in like a shack in the backyard.
I mean, you can have a castle. It doesn't mean that you can live in it, but you can have the castle. You can display the castle. But that's the same with other things as well. What I was trying to look at was like the basic stuff that everyone gets. And that's, I think, the balloons and the ears. Because the kids love the balloons. And the funny thing is, with the balloons, that there's always the standard balloons and then the flashy ones that's got the lights in it that all the kids want. And the price is kind of like a ladder. So if you look at it first, the standard ones were $13 and the expensive ones or the special ones were $18. And then out of sudden, a few years later, it's like it kind of shifts. So now the cheapest ones are the $18 ones, which was the expensive one now. And this is how the price keeps going in. So again, they do kind of like smart marketing, saying like, well, the price of a balloon is the average price of a balloon is still $18. Yeah, it is $18, but back in the days,
Joe's
that was the
face.
flashy
It's
one.
just,
And now
I'm sorry, I just got clips of Joe's face.
wild. Yeah, exactly. And
Balloon!
Yeah, that's going to end up in the sky anyway.
have the big balloons there. The only time we ever got a balloon is now in Hong Kong because it was part of one of these room packages that you can buy there, and we got one of these flashy balloons.
What about the one in Paris that was sliding off the side of Space Mountain and I caught midair?
Oh yeah,
The free balloon. That's the best.
free balloon.
Free balloons.
But if you look at the ears as well, like what we found in Hong Kong in terms of merch is, and everything that what we've discussed before, it kind of links in it, is we got an annual pass because it was cheaper than 5 days worth of park tickets. Plus we are the high end consumer of merchandise. So we knew that if we get a 10% discount on the merchandise, we're going to make that work. Now, it was a surprising twist for us as well that we exactly went in those 2 weeks period when there was a so-called shopping event for annual pass holders. So we got an extra 15% discount on everything. So all the merch was 25% off for us. And
it was only cheap as it was.
And it was a lot cheaper because what I wanted to compare with as we were discussing hotels, there's 3 hotels in Hong Kong. The most expensive or most exclusive hotel is the the Hong Kong Disneyland Hotel, which looks very, very similar to the Grand Floridian. Now, shameless self-advertising. If you haven't seen our vlogs there, if you have a look at the first one, you'll see the entire resort, and it is beautiful. And for the 5 nights, it costed us the same amount as the Disneyland Paris hotel would cost us for 1 night.
Wow.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's superb customer service. We made friends with cast members, and you just literally, you step out of your taxi or your car, and you feel like royalty. Like, they won't let you touch your bag. They take your bag. They sort literally everything out for yourself. And it's so different. And this is what I wanted to say when it comes to Hong Kong with the merch. They are stuck with the prices 20 years ago, Disney. Because now, if I have a look, I was having a look at the prices of the ears. 2020, a standard ear in Walt Disney World was $29. 2026 now, it is $37. So there's like a quite significant, nearly a $10 jump in a standard kind of ear. And it's not the flashy ones, not the ones that glow in the dark or do anything spectacular, just the plain basic ones. In Hong Kong, have a guess, what is the price of a standard ear, which would be $37 in Walt Disney World, the same ear?
Tenner.
Well, that was a little bit. That was a little bit optimistic, but
like half as much. I was going to say about half.
It's around £16. The standard ear is £16, which is around what, $21.
Still really good though.
And that $21, if you look at the year's prices, 5 years, that was around 10 years ago, the prices in Walt Disney World or in any of the American parks. And it's absolutely crazy how the merch goes up, and even the pins. A few years ago, we collect pins.
Yeah.
A few years ago, a standard pin was £8.
Yeah.
Now, within around 3 years period, it's now £12. That's a 50% increase.
Is ridiculous. The price for pins at the moment is so annoying. I hate it. I hate how they've changed everything. Mystery boxes used to be, you get 2 pins and they were £12 on the Disney site. The last couple of months,
now it's what, £26?
Oh yeah.
Fact.
Yeah,
Pins
and then
haven't changed.
they've done the delivery charge as well now. So if you're only buying like 1 pin, it's going to cost you £6.50 to deliver it. What is that about? So
Yeah, and there's the cheeky ones as well. Did you notice those pins? You get 2 in a pack, and to have the whole set, you have to collect 7. So you're gonna end up, even if you're the luckiest out of all, you end up with 1 spare one because they just
I wouldn't know anything about it.
Missing out here is that geographically the boat doesn't have to go as far from China, does it?
Yeah.
Perhaps it's the fuel of the boat having to go from China to Japan is a lot shorter journey than it is to America.
That does make some sort of sense. They could advertise it that way.
It's just
Just don't tell them, because they're gonna come up with this as the resolution for all of these. Like, oh, that's the reason. That's why it's cheaper. Then don't tell them.
It's just like general all over, though. I mean, spirit jerseys are what, £80 now?
Yeah, they've gone up like
ridiculous.
10, 15 quid or something like that.
Mine was $90 for a shirt. This was 80, which I'm ashamed to say I spent that on.
And then, was it last year or the year before when they were talking about the food and maximising? They literally said the quiet part out loud that the portions are smaller, and the price is up. It just makes no sense, and we all seem to be idiots and still going along with it.
Well, and that brings us kind of to the last thing I wanted to talk about was, is it worth it? Do we feel like it's worth it? And do we feel like our experience at Disney is more positive or more negative? Because we've talked a lot of sides, so we've got Disney 10, 15 years ago, and there was no Star Wars Land, right? And but the things were cheaper, but this and that, and hotels were cheaper, but now they're not. But All Star's awesome now, all these different things are happening at the same time. And so while I do agree pins are just way too expensive, like we've seen some really great designs recently too. They have really know how to take our money. So I think I would just like to put that out there. Do people feel like it's worth it? Do you, when you spend the money and you go, are you like, okay, that was worth it, even though that was a lot? Or do you think, are you starting to think maybe I got to go less, or maybe I got to go once every 5 years now, or something like that?
Whoa, let's not talk crazy now. That's whoa.
I think I know how Joe stands on this.
I mean, it's took me 10 years and to go back with different circumstances, but also to be able to save as much. It's took years and years to be able to save to go to Walt Disney World. Years ago, it probably would have taken less time to save. Who knows? But it's so expensive to go, and this is the problem. A lot of people are missing out. I know so many people who want to go, but they can't afford it. I myself, I'm looking all the time at different trips, and I just can't justify the price. And it sucks. And there's merch that I want, and I can't justify the price. It's that thing where I don't know. You spend it, but then you're like, oh god, that was a lot of money. But you're happy you've done it because you've got whatever it is, or you've done the trip. Like, I know I'm gonna probably spend way too much in 2 weeks' time, but I'm gonna love doing that. But at the same time, I'm gonna probably be like, oh, I went a bit too far with it, which I always end up doing. But just one of them things.
Kevin, did you have something? I was about to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, a friend of mine's got a saying, memories are better than stuff. I don't buy anything like the merchandise I used to. When we were going, when the kids were small, we took an extra suitcase to bring home. I'm going to say something you won't understand now, Jackson. To bring home trainers, which you would call sneakers. We used to bring home pairs for my.
I see.
A whole suitcase of those home. Levi jeans we'd bring home. Shirts, loads of shirts, skateboards. I bought home skateboards from America. We don't do that anymore. We just cannot afford to do that. It's cheaper for me. I've bought my trainers to go to my trip in 4 weeks' time from the UK because it's cheaper than buying them in your outlet stores in the US now. So, sometimes it's just cheaper to buy the stuff here and go with it. I wouldn't have done it. I would have had an extra suitcase. I'd pay for an extra suitcase and bring all this stuff back from America. I don't do it now. This hat, I didn't buy it. A friend of mine bought it me. I just don't buy this stuff now. I just go for the memories and the visit with friends and stuff. I just can't. And pins, my wife doesn't wear ears. Pins, we don't take our children anymore. We've had them adopted out. We've got rid of them. They're gone. They are in their 20s, so that's fair enough. But yeah.
Gone?
That would be my.
See, I buy a lot of merch second hand. That's how I got so much stuff now, is because I keep buying stuff on Vinted.
Well, my wife's just done Vinted. But it's our loss she's been going through because she's just lost a lot of weight. Well, she wasn't a big lady in the first place. Lost a lot of weight. And so now she's going through all her old clothes, and it's like Vinted again. She goes, "Oh, do you remember when I used to wear this? This is 30 years old." I'm going, "Yeah, why didn't you throw anything away, love?" But again, it's right. I don't buy the stuff I would have bought in the past. I don't buy the T-shirts and stuff. I just don't do it because I can't afford to have that and then go back every year. I mean, I'm down to 18 months. I used to go every year, but I'm down to go in September. And then the following February, so an 18-month sort of roll is what I'm on at the moment. And that is purely to make money go further and the points.
I've already been looking at stuff that I want to get, and I've been going, oh God, that's really expensive. I don't think I'm going to get it. And you shouldn't have to always do this, oh, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's so annoying that everything's so expensive now.
I think you need to plan smart. I mean, if you're going to go more than once every 5 years, you plan it smart. I mean, I've booked Disneyland Paris for March, but we're not staying in the resort hotels because it's too expensive. We just got an Airbnb, sharing it between us, and just keep the costs down, walk to the park and back to the Airbnb within 15 minutes. And we have booked, when we do Orlando in October, we booked one of the new Universal hotels. We got it in the January sales. So there's ways of being smart around it, but it ends up you're doing it less than what you'd want to. But putting it on your credit card, and like I haven't saved up for either of the trips yet. I'm just going to work my ass off to get the overtime to pay it all off. But there's something that's
Yeah,
still
I think we're
drawing you back.
responsible with money.
I think this brings a really interesting point too, because what's happened is, and I know we've all seen this, is there used to be this like really elite fan of Disney, and they were the planners, and they would go and they would maximize their trip. And 15 years ago, they were like so nerdy because or 20 years ago, right? Because they'd go and they'd max out the FastPass and they'd rope drop and they do all these things. And now we kind of have to do all those things. Everyone does. Mm-hmm. Like you have to choose, okay, am I rope dropping or am I closing? I do both, but am I doing that? Or like, what are my lightning lanes? I have to be planning this 6 months in advance. Like you either have to be the best planner ever, hire one, or you just kind of wing it and you accept the consequences where you're like, hey, I didn't get a ride Tron this time. I guess I'll ride it after 5 years or whatever, hopefully it still works or something. So I think that's an interesting thing to bring up is how you vacation, what's a vacation to you, and how you get value out of it. And for me, kind of winging it and relaxing is part of it. And so when I make a bunch of plans, I don't feel relaxed. That's not how I work. And that's a very unpopular Disney thing because everyone else really likes a plan. They really like to get it done. And that's fine. That's a totally fine thing to do. Yep. Steve, look, there's Steve.
Yeah.
And on my plan, I made one dining reservation for my Disney World trip. I made one and I kept it. And that's all I did. And we rode everything. We were just lucky, but it just depends on what kind of trip you want.
I'm very much the same as you, Jackson. I kind of wake up in the hotel on the day. I'm like, it's a Magic Kingdom day today. I'm gonna go there and see what's going on.
That's exactly what I do.
I wish I could be like that.
I sort of go, I'll go Hollywood Studios this afternoon. I don't know how I'm gonna get there.
My itinerary is like the park, what outfit I'm wearing, where we're dining, and like, we'll try and get this done that day. Like it's very much put in place. But I think it's because it's been so long that I'm like trying to make sure I've done everything. I think, although I always say that I'm going to take this trip really chill when we're doing Disneyland Paris, and I say that every single time, but I never end up chilling out. I will do rope drop park close and I will be non-stop. And then afterwards I will be absolutely knackered. Yeah, I wish I could be like that. It just doesn't work that way.
It's so much fun. It's so relaxing.
The thing is, if you pay all
Kevin,
that,
you had to say something?
then you want to get it all in, don't you?
Yeah, that's what it is. I just want to make sure I get everything done. Waited long enough.
I think we slept for I slept for like 6 hours each night when we did Tokyo. Just because you're cramming it all in.
I was just going to say, on terms of the planning, I am definitely one of the nerds who plans way too much. I mean, if I can grab it really quick, we've got a whiteboard for our upcoming trip with it all noted on. But I mean, what I was going to say was the only thing that I love the planning. I love it. Like I literally love planning to the T, restaurant reservations, everything. But the one thing I don't like with the new phase of Disney is having to be on this so much.
Yes.
If you are doing fast passes, you have to look at this. If you want standby, you have to go on this. If you want to check, like I like it that when I go away, like occasional put stuff on my story, but I'm one that like when I'm in Disney, I want to be in Disney. I don't want to know what's going on in the world. I don't want to look at the news. I don't care. In all honesty, like this is our special time. This is our memories, and like that's where, for me, like it costs a lot. Like I don't know, like Olivia said, we save and we go, and like when we go, and I'm like, we could pay a deposit on a house for all this money, but like it's Disney, and that's like our thing, and like so at the end of the day, like for me, like it costs so much, but it's just so worth it, and like doing my silly whiteboard and all my silly planning, like I wouldn't change it for me. And although it's expensive, they'll keep having my money till the day I die. So take it, Disney, take all my money.
Would there ever be a limit for you guys that you wouldn't pay?
I don't think there is, because I think they've got us, haven't they? We're all die-hard Disney fans. Although Olivia's had to save up for 10 years, she saved up for 10 years to go. You know, we're all diehards. Now, if you're talking about my boss who's been to Disneyland Paris once and was going to Disney World but had cancelled, now is going to Disneyland Paris, she's not so old school. She goes elsewhere. So you're not going to necessarily see it. She will be priced out eventually. Whereas I won't be, because I'll just do whatever I have to do to get to pay for it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're being very negative and saying, you know, it's an awful lot of money, everything's going up. You go and book a campsite in the UK in August, right? Just a patch of grass.
Yeah,
you go and book it. No, I'm not.
Literally.
If you like me, I've got a camper van. And I've got to buy that, I've got to run that, I've got to maintain that, and then I've got to pay for a pitch of grass, which is £50 a night in the summer. You actually work it out. It costs me more to go and stay on a pitch of grass in the UK in the summer than it does to go to Florida. When you add up what
I've been going on like UK places. I've been pricing up like little UK breaks, and then I go, oh, it's the same price as going to Disneyland Paris. I'll go to Disneyland Paris instead. And then what keeps happening?
Yeah,
do you think trends are going to change it though? And maybe people are, because on my Instagram feed, people seem to be heading more towards Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, rather than going to the American parts, because it's better bang for your bucks, and also it's a bit more smoother over there with what's going on. Sorry, Jackson.
I think they'll go there, but then like I feel like they'll loop back to Florida when, you know, the Villains Kingdom's open, the new Cars land, the new Monsters Inc. land. Like Florida's going to be for a bit. I think just like you guys go see what's out there, and then come back to us in 2029, 2030 when we've got all our new stuff.
And when we put the prices up.
Yeah, right. I think for me, once they get rid of Grizzly Airfield in California Adventure, I will not feel the need to go there anymore. I think that'll be a once every few years visit. I'll go to Disneyland for a whole trip and not feel like I'm missing out. Even when Pandora's built, that's my favorite part of that park. But when that's gone, I'm good. Like, it's fine. I'd be fine with missing it.
Is it going?
There's nothing announced. It should stay for the foreseeable future. I love it. It's one of my favorite places, but as soon as they do something different with that, I assume it's going to be themed in a different way or something, just because it's the only not IP-based land left after Avatar. So that's just my assumption. But I once that's out, I don't really feel the need to go there, because when I go there, that's where I go, and I enjoy there. But I'm weird like that, and I think you're right. They've got me. You know, like even though I won't go to DCA, I'll always go to Disneyland. I always will. I'll always, like Epcot, I never don't want to be going to Epcot all the time. And so I think that no matter what, I'll just do what Olivia does. And I'm just like, I'll save. And my wife's like, when are we going next time? And I'm like, when we can afford it, we'll just have to wait. And if we wait, we'll go. And then we'll wait again. You know, it's just what you do.
Right. Can I say something very controversial, since I've done it twice tonight? I'm not interested in going to Disneyland, California. I'm not interested in going outside of America at all, I'm afraid.
I understand that. I get you. I don't believe in what you just said, but I do understand it because I'm open-minded.
Why would you go there? You can't even see the castle.
It's true. It's so crowded and it's so small.
Original.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it is the original. I will never stop going. But that's an okay thing to say, Kev. I can see where you're coming from on that.
Well, simply value for money. Why would I travel another few hours on a plane to go and do half as many parks for twice as much money? Why would I do that?
That's a fair point.
And this whole thing about it being Walt's Park, right?
Well, when you say it like that.
Yeah, but this thing about it being Walt's Park, Jackson just said that's the last Grizzly Gulch, was it you were talking about? Because I know nothing about Disneyland, really.
Like Grizzly Airfield, yeah.
Right? You're saying that that's the last thing to be changed. What of it is Walt's Park? What's left? A light in an office, and a castle which looks like it's something I put up in my back garden. I mean, it's only about,
I don't know. I think
15 foot high.
I think I was with you for value for money, but this one I gotta fight you on because I think I don't know. I think it is Walt's Park, and I know a lot of it's changed, but no, I'm not taking it personally. I think you're right about the money, 100%. Like, if you want to get value, you go across the sea, you go to Disney World, whatever. Like, you're going to get so much more value there. But I think in terms of Disneyland, there's just a charm that you just can't get anywhere else. I don't get it at Disney World. I don't get it anywhere else. And I think this is just where it comes to what trip works for you the best, you know? And for me, Disneyland's worth it. But for everyone else, like, it might be going to Disney World for 14 days, and that's their same magic, same brand, but different place. And that's cool. And that's why I don't take it personally when someone says, like, Disneyland's not for me. And I'm like, okay, great. More for me then, you know? Like,
I think, Jackson, you would specifically really, really enjoy Hong Kong because for me, when we got there, and this is a controversial thing, and even Hannah was like, that's big from you. When we got back, I said to her that I feel like it is more magical than Walt Disney World. It's a lot smaller, but it's just so charming. The people are different. You get two entire lands that are not IP based whatsoever, because you got Mystic Point and you got Grizzly Gulch. Everything is so, for you as a photographer, photographable. What's the word I'm looking? Photogenic. Everything is so photogenic there. It's so beautiful, and it's just got the magic that it gives you, or what you feel is somehow completely different, because it feels a little bit more untouched, a little bit more genuine, a little bit less commercial. And it's weird because the shops are heaving all the time. Everyone's buying the merch, like, it's absolute carnage. But
I can't deal with the shop.
It just feels like that it's somehow not as commercial as any of the other parks. We were saying it that we would go there more often. For us, the problem here, and when it comes back to budgeting and all, is not even really, at the moment at least, the park tickets or the hotel packages, because we always go with the cheapest hotel anyway, because we rope drop until we drop. But it's the flights, and the flight prices are going to be climbing up in the foreseeable future, because aviation is getting more and more expensive for all sorts of different reasons. And I think this is the kind of like thing that holds us back from doing more trips abroad, and this is why we end up mostly going to Disneyland Paris, because we can get cheap flights there. But I think this is the one thing that is difficult for us, because otherwise we just wing it. We don't really plan. The only things that we plan really is
like the
booking. Meals. Yeah, the meals. That goes to that point as well. Like, which restaurants do we want to go? Let's make a list, and we've got a list of places that we want to go. We've got probably a list of characters that we want to meet that we don't get to meet elsewhere. But after that, we're just winging it. And I disagree a little bit with Jay on the app. I really like using the real-time updates that are coming from the app, because if you look at it like, it's a little bit busy here in Magic Kingdom. Oh, app got the wait times. Guardians is down. Let's go over. Let's hop over.
I know, but it's so complicated to use if you're trying to like book whatever.
Yeah, that is true. But in certain aspects I really like, because it gives you a little bit more flexibility to wing your day, to get through the day. And maybe by the end of the day you've been to 4 different parks and you didn't even notice, and you're like, oh, we had a fantastic day.
I've got to say, I think Hong Kong Disney is the easiest and nicest park to go to, because it's quieter. You're not always on your phones. You can just go straight on a ride. It's just so much easier. You don't need to spend months planning and getting up at stupid o'clock to book things. I'd probably say it's one of the better Disney parks to go to. Certainly easier than the ones in the States and Tokyo.
Yeah. I think this is so interesting too. I think this is one of the best parts about Disney Hot Topic, is that we've got a pretty solid array of different fans here, and we've all shared an opinion, and but at the end of the day, we're all giving our money to Disney because we love it so much, you know? And I think that's awesome. I really do. And I think that's super neat to see us all enjoy it in our own way. So I think that's super special. I just want to throw that in there. Anyone else have anything to share? Or are we good? I think we're at almost 2 hours, so I don't want to make Olivia work so much.
Yeah, she needs to go on holidays as well, you know.
I was about a third controversial thing. I'm not interested in Alani neither.
Oh, no.
I don't even know what's there. I've not really looked into that.
Or Vero Beach,
really
or Hilton Head.
No, I like a park. Go on rides, meet characters, have park food, eat really poorly for 2 weeks, and you don't care about your cholesterol.
Oh, the cheese.
Give me the cheese sauce. Put cheese on everything.
Yep.
Deep fry it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I think this went really well, guys. I think this was a really good one. We really covered everything. There was nothing I felt like we missed. I think we nailed it. Good job, everybody. Thanks so much for showing up.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Thank you for moderating and organizing and editing and all. And it's really nice to meet you.
Thank Olivia for that. That's all Olivia. The editing, those beautiful videos are all her. So thanks so much, everyone, for coming on Disney Hot Topic today. I think we shared a really great array of topics. I think we talked about a lot. We covered a lot of ground. And most importantly, we had a really wide variety of opinions and facts shared. And I really liked that. We covered all the parks around the world. And so we really appreciate you joining us. And we hope you'll come next week when we share our next Disney Hot Topic. Thanks so much.